Hello, dear students. Welcome to the third part of Geography, chapter number 6, Manufacturing Industries. So, before starting this part, let us have a quick recap that what we have studied in part 1 and part 2. In part 1, we studied that what does manufacturing mean. After that, we studied that what is the importance of manufacturing. In that, we saw that manufacturing gives employment, it adds value to the product, economic development is also there, growth of trade is there, development of transport and communication is also there with the increasing number of manufacturing industries. After that, we saw that what are the ideal locations of an industry, where industry is located. In that, we learned about geographical factors, urbanization, transportation cost, energy supplies, and other factors such as industrial region, mobility of labor, market, and services. After that, we studied about classification of industries. Classification of industries on the basis of number of employees, that is large scale industry and small scale industry. Classification of industries on the basis of ownership, public sector, private sector, joint sector, and cooperative sector. After that, we studied about classification of industries on the basis of origin of raw material. In that, we saw agro-based industries and mineral-based industries. Later on, in the second part of this chapter, we studied in detail about agro-based industries. In that, we talked about cotton textile industries, its features, major challenges to cotton textile industries, and we saw on the physical map where these industries are located. After that, the second agro-based industry was jute industry. We had a glance at jute industries, features of jute industries, what are the challenges faced by jute industries, and what government has done to uplift the condition of jute industries by launching national jute policy in the year 2005. After that, we studied about the features of sugar industry, and we saw that what were the challenges of sugar industries and why sugar industry is shifting from northern states to southern states. After that, we continued to mineral based industries. In that, we saw iron and steel industry and what were the challenges of iron and steel industry and why iron and steel industry is located in the peninsular India. After that, we talked about automobile industries and how they are helpful for us. After that, we saw about electronics and electrical industries, or IT industries we say. Now, in this part, till now we talked about the progress, the development. Now, this development has degraded the environment also. That is environmental degradation and industrial pollution. So, today we'll start this part with industrial pollution and environmental degradation. How it is caused and in what form does it exist. Industries pollute the following domains. Now, what are those domains? Number first is your air pollution. Air pollution is caused by presence of high proportion of undesirable gases like sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, etc. Chimneys of industries produce heat, leading to global warming and greenhouse effect. Airborne materials particles contain both solid and liquid particles like dust, sprays, smoke, etc. Smoke is emitted by chemical and paper industries, factories, and by refineries and smelting plants also. You might have heard in the year 1984, Bhopal Gas Tragedy was there, in which toxic gas leakage that was very much hazardous with long-term effects. Air pollution adversely affects human health, animal, plants, building, and the atmosphere as a whole. It affects the every sphere of life. Air pollution that is caused by factories because of all these reasons. Now, after air pollution, it is water pollution. The next domain is your water pollution. Now, how water pollution is caused? It is caused by organic and inorganic industrial waste and effluents discharged into the rivers by the factories. The main culprits are paper pulp, chemicals, textiles and dyeing, petroleum refineries, etc. Fly ash, phosphogypsum and iron steel slags are major solid waste in India, and these are dumped in the river, causing the river pollution, which not only affects the life in river but also to the human being as it reaches to the groundwater, and it pollutes the groundwater also. Now, how it pollutes the groundwater? Let us talk about the next domain, that is thermal pollution. Thermal pollution of water occurs when hot water from factories and thermal plants is drained into rivers and ponds before cooling. It occurs when heated water from factories and thermal plants is drained into the river. Heated water, hot water. Waste from nuclear power plants, nuclear weapon production cause cancer, birth defects and miscarriages also. Dumping of waste, especially glass, harmful chemicals, industrial effluents, packaging, salts and garbage makes the soil useless. Rainwater which dips into the soil carrying the pollutants to the groundwater, and the groundwater is contaminated or polluted. This is what you call is thermal pollution. Now, next one is your noise pollution. Noise pollution not only results in irrigation, it also causes hearing irritation. Noise pollution not only results in irritation, and it can also cause hearing impairment and stress, resulting in high blood pressure. Industrial and construction activities such as machinery, factory equipments, generators and electric drills also cause noise pollution. It causes irritation, hearing impairment, heart attack, resulting in high blood pressure, etc. among the nearby people. You can see clearly in the image also. Now, students, we talked about environmental degradation and industrial pollution. Now, what is the solution of it? How we can control the environmental degradation? There are many ways in which we can control the environmental degradation. Now, some of them are: to control water pollution, what we can do? We can minimize use water by processing, by reusing and recycling it into 2 or more stages apart from harvesting of water. We can process it in 2 or more stages. Treating of hot water and effluents before releasing them in the rivers and ponds. Treatment of industrial effluents in 3 phases. 3 phases are there. One is primary, second one is secondary, and the third one is tertiary. In primary treatment, mechanical means are used. It involves the screening, means finding that which type of effluent it is. Second one is your grinding, means crushing it into very small particles. Flocculation and sedimentation. Flocculation and sedimentation both are equal processes in which the effluent is sedimented in the lower part of the water body, and flocculation is there on the upper part, that is creamy like material you can see, and the upper part of the water body is creamy white in color, that is called flocculation. Secondary treatment is by biological process, and third, that is tertiary treatment, is by biological, chemical and physical process. These 3 treatments, primary, secondary and tertiary, involves recycling of water. Now, how we can control the noise pollution? Noise pollution can be controlled if machinery and equipment used and generators should be fitted with silencers. Almost all machinery can be redesigned and noise absorbing material can be used. So this is how we can stop water pollution, air pollution and noise pollution. Now, Ntpc, National Thermal Power Corporation. National Thermal Power Corporation. As you know that National Thermal Power Corporation, Ntpc, uses coal as raw material, and with the heat of that energy is released in form of electricity. If we talk about Ntpc, it is a major power providing corporation in India. It has a proactive approach for preserving the natural environment and resources like water, oil and gas and fuels in places where it is setting up power plants. Now let us have a look that what steps have been taken by Ntpc to control the environmental degradation. Ntpc is a major power providing corporation in India. It has ISO certification of EMS, that is Environment Management System. The corporation has a proactive approach for preserving the natural environment and resources like water, oil, gas and fuels in places where it is setting up power plants. This has been possible through optimum utilization of equipments, adopting latest techniques and upgrading existing equipments, minimizing waste generation by maximizing ash utilization. Ash, you might have seen nowadays that ash bricks are made. so that ash utilization is there in making up of bricks nowadays. Providing green belts means planting trees for nurturing ecological balance and addressing the question of special purpose vehicles for afforestation. Reducing environmental pollution through ash pond management, ash water recycling system, and liquid waste management, ecological monitoring review, and online database management for all its power stations. So these are some of the ways by which NTPC is showing the way to control the environmental degradation. Now students, let us have a quick recap that what we have studied in the whole chapter in part 1, part 2 and part 3. In the first part, we studied that what does manufacturing mean. After that, we saw about the importance of manufacturing. After that, in importance of manufacturing, we saw that it generates employment. It adds value to the product. Economic development is also there. Growth of trade is there, and with the development of industries, development of transport and communication is also there. After that, we talked about industrial location, the ideal location of an industry. There are several factors which affect it. Some of them are geographical factors, urbanization, transportation cost, energy supplies, and other factors including industrial region, mobility of labor, market and services. After that, we saw about classification of industries. Now, classification of industries on the basis of number of employees. One is large scale industry, second one is small scale industry. Now, classification of industries on the basis of ownership, public sector, private sector, joint sector and cooperative sector. The third one we saw was based on origin of raw materials, that is agro based industry and mineral based industry. Then in detail we saw agro based industries. The number one was cotton textile industry and its features. What are the challenges of cotton textile mills and where they are located, especially in the parts of Maharashtra and Gujarat where black soil is present, which is ideal for plantation of cotton. After that, we talked about jute industry. What are the features of jute industry and why jute industries are located near the Hooghly Basin, and what are the challenges faced by jute industries. After that, we talked about sugar industries. What are the features of sugar industries? What are the challenges faced by sugar industries and why sugar industries are being shifted from northern states to southern states. After that, we talked about mineral based industries. In that, we talked about iron and steel industries. What are the features of iron and steel industries? What are the challenges which are being faced by iron and steel industries? And why iron and steel industry is located in peninsular India. After that, we talked about the automobile industries and what are the importance of automobile industries, both in road, waterways and airways. We saw that automobile industries play an important role. And after that we talked about electronics and electrical industries or IT industries, where we saw that software technology parks are there and 30% of the women are employed in this sector. And today, in the last part, we studied about industrial pollution and environmental degradation. In that, we saw that there are different domains. The first domain was air pollution, second domain was your water pollution, after that, thermal pollution, after that, noise pollution, and finally, we reached that how we can control environmental degradation. In that, we saw that how we can control water pollution, how treatment of industrial effluents takes place in three phases, that is primary treatment, secondary treatment, and tertiary treatment. After that, we talked about how we can control noise pollution. And finally, we came to the end of the topic by discussing about Ntpc, what are the steps taken by National Thermal Power Corporation to control the environmental degradation and how does it shows the way. I hope you understood the chapter. Thank you for your generous support.